About the whole ring thing.
The ring thing was so funny.
Mary noticed it right away.
Oh, okay. That's because there's a backstory here. And I don't know. I don't feel like it's all the way my place, but here we are. So Kody and Meri had a wedding ring that Robin was in the picture. I don't know if they were married quite yet. He melted down the ring, saved the gold, saved the diamonds. Well, Meri found out. She's like, well, where's my ring? You don't wear it anymore. And he's like, oh, I melted it down. Just like that.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, December 1st, 2023. It's December. Yay. Listen, we got to talk. My entire life on this channel has been revolving around Sister Wives because there has been an implosion in this family, and every day there is a new story. And some days I feel like I'm living in a Sister Wives dream. I even have dreams that I become a fifth wife, and I don't like those dreams. I do not want to ever be married to that man. But polygamy in its own right creates a very unhealthy culture where women are competing for the attention and the affection of one man. They all are divided and have to share the same resources. There's a million kids, and the kids and the wives are all vying for Kody's attention. And the men in these families are viewed as the priest, as though they're God. Every man is the priesthood of their home, and everyone wants to be close to God. And so even though these women have said for years that they consented to this, it's very, very difficult in any capacity to say that this was a consensual relationship, because the women, from the time that they were born, at least Meri and Christine and Robin, Janelle's a different story, but those that grew up in this cult have been told since they were born that the only righteous path to eternity is through plural marriage. And that is a fundamental component in teaching within their former church in the AUB. They have legal marriages, and then they have concubines. And for the better part of over 20 years, Meri was the legal wife of Kody Brown. And Christine apparently has shared a story about Meri and why she was upset about a ring that has really frustrated and upset Meri. And we see a side of Meri that is very different. And Christine then went on to Us Weekly with Janelle and responded to Meri being upset about it, which again, they were sort of flippant about. Regardless of the dynamics in this family, and regardless of what people think about Meri or what the kids have said about Meri, this system creates and fosters abuse at all levels, and jealousy and vindictiveness and pain. And so the pain that Christine feels is valid, the pain that Janelle feels is valid, but equally the pain that Meri feels is valid. Janelle and Christine seem to be incredibly insensitive to the pain that Meri has experienced, given that Meri was Kody's legal wife. And I'm kind of going to side with Meri on this, but I'll let you decide. So let's dive into the topic. Before we do, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you never miss a video.
And I was like, he's like, I didn't want Meri to have control over me and power over me anymore. I'm like, it's still your wedding ring. It's what you've had for 15, however many years, right? So we all got together and we got him a ring. And we bought him a ring together. It was a Claudia ring. We all went in on the design, the four of us. We got him the ring, and that's what he wore for a long time. And then he designed his own ring with Robin. He and Robin designed a ring together that he wore. And I'm like, okay, whatever. We can all see what it's like.
So Christine is asked by Suki about this ring that Kody was seen wearing, the David Yurman ring, the ring that he and Robin are both wearing. Neither one of these rings were designed by them, by the way. These are rings that you can buy at this store, and they vary in price depending on the metal that is used for them. Robin wears a solid gold ring and Kody wears a silver and gold ring. And Meri was upset, obviously, when she saw Kody wearing that ring. So Christine explains and tells a story about how Meri and Kody had this wedding ring that they exchanged when they got married, and that was the ring that he wore for the longest time. And Kody had made the choice to melt down the gold from that ring, and then based upon melting down that gold, she also shares that Kody says, well, I don't want Meri to have control over me. That part of the story, I don't know, is necessary for her to say. The way that she just threw that in without any follow through, it paints Meri in a very negative way. And the fact that the ring was a wedding ring and he seemingly, without telling Meri, melted down the ring. I don't know about you, but I am a married woman and I would be upset if my husband did that. Because when you get married, your ring is a symbol of your union. And if he didn't tell Meri that he was going to do that and then says to Christine, I don't want Meri to have any control over me anymore, whatever that means, because he's always had all the control, is hurtful. Christine's like, whatever, we went and then made our own ring. Then Robin designed a ring, whatever, okay? So Meri finds out about this and Meri gets upset. So this is what Meri said.
I am extremely frustrated right now, beyond. After we did the taping for the one-on-one interviews with Suki, I found out that a story was brought up about me that is not a story that I have ever shared publicly, that is my story to tell, when, where, and how I want to. And somebody else took it upon themselves to tell that story. And now I'm being forced to talk about it.
Before Christine revealed to Suki that Kody had melted down Meri's wedding ring that she gave him at their wedding, she said, it's really not my place to tell. So Christine knew going in that even discussing what happened with the rings wasn't her place. She went ahead and said it anyway. And then while telling it, she goes in with, well, Kody just said that he didn't want Meri to have any control over him. So when Christine tells a story that's likely extremely sensitive to Meri and one that she's never shared before, she adds in her own opinions, or she adds in Kody's opinions, like Kody telling her that I didn't want Meri to have any control over me anymore. So it's already putting Meri into a defensive position by having to defend the fact that Kody said that about her and explain the situation in a way where she's already put in a defensive place, because it's already put Meri as like the bad guy. Like Kody had to melt it down to gain his freedom, which is so sick for him to say. If Kody felt that way about Meri, then he shouldn't have kept her in the family for all of these years. Not to mention, he melted down the ring without telling her. So I can see where Meri would be upset about this, especially if she's never talked about it, because we don't really know why this happened and we don't know what Meri knew or didn't know. And we don't know what led up to all of that, right? We only know that Christine's giving us 2 seconds of it, which I can understand why Meri would be upset.
I'm not happy about it. It was not Christine's business to tell. She can laugh about it all she wants, but it was not her business to tell. If I wanted to have shared that story in the last 13 years in a public way, I would have done that.
This story and this situation was probably a very devastating moment and realization for Meri. You have to imagine and put yourself in her shoes. She married Kody. When they got married, they were a legal marriage, and she and Kody were husband and wife, both spiritually and legally. And in the real world, legally is all that matters for a marriage. And Meri had a legal contract with Kody that they were husband and wife, and that leads to a lot of benefits for taxes and for death and for children and for custody and all of these components that are why people get married legally. And Christine laughs at the fact that Kody melted down this ring and that Meri was upset about Kody wearing a new ring. And I think the problem with polygamy is that one slight to one woman will feel like vindication to another woman. And so if Christine is upset at Meri, she might not care that Kody melted these down, because why would she care? Meri's getting hers. You know, she might be mad at Meri for something that Meri's done to her and feel like this is Meri's karma. But it doesn't put, from an outsider's perspective, if that's Meri's pain and that's Meri's a culmination of just a betrayal she feels by Kody, to have someone laugh at that would feel very hurtful. On top of that, it's something that she has not talked about publicly, and I'm assuming it's because of how devastating that was for her. I can't imagine finding out that my husband melted down his ring after the fact, and then to find out that one of his concubines is laughing about it and telling the story in a flippant way, and really not even discussing or understanding or empathizing with what that would mean to someone who's a legal wife. Christine is a legal wife now, and I hope maybe now that she has become a legal wife, she would have more empathy for this, because I would personally be devastated if my husband did that. A wedding ring is it's a symbol. It's a symbol of your union. It's a symbol of your commitment. And Kody melted that down because he wanted his freedom. That's very insensitive. So Meri, I believe, has a right to be upset here. And I think that you're asking a woman who was a romantic rival to tell the story, and it's never going to be told in a way that's going to be objective or sensitive to the pain that Meri felt. And Christine and Meri's history is just so complicated that I think the two of them, it's just really not Christine's place to talk. Frankly, I don't like Christine and Janelle chiming in about Meri's relationship, because their history is so complicated on both ends. All of these women have issues with each other, and Meri gets ganged up on by Janelle and Christine a lot. Us Weekly sat down and asked Christine and Janelle about Meri getting upset, and they were flippant again in their reaction.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, you noticed that. That's
Yes.
right.
Mary's very sentimental about the ring that she gave Kody,
Sure.
and she's very sentimental, and I think it bothered her
Mhm.
when he melted down the wedding ring.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know it did. That was
But you know
really
what?
hard.
As best I remember it, we did it for the sake of giving the girl rings, like made from all the parents'
Sure.
rings, right? But I know it was hard on her. I know it was really hard on her.
I thought it was a mistake to do it. I thought I was super, super sad no matter what. I
Yeah.
just, but it was his choice.
So their story is like, I don't know if we're just getting part of it here, but then now they're giving more details, right? And they're saying, well, from my recollection, Kody melted it down because we were making rings for all of our girls so that they could have something about them, something from all of us adults. I don't buy this story at all. I don't buy this, they were making rings for people. There is no way. This was a family that had no money before the show. And you mean to tell me they're melting down rings and having rings commissioned and made for their children? No way. Absolutely no way. When they went to buy Kody a Claddagh ring, they went to a jewelry store. They didn't make a Claddagh ring. They found a ring that was already made and added a diamond in the middle. That was it. That was all they did. They didn't have the kind of money to have rings made for their kids. They didn't have the kind of money to have a jeweler take actual gold from a wedding ring and put it into a new ring for their daughters. I don't buy it for a minute that this is what happened. I feel like this is what they're saying now. And Christine says, oh, it was super, super sad when this happened. But that's not what she said to Suki. She said, well, he did it. And that was his explanation. And it was because Meri was free. And she didn't have empathy for Meri when she told the story to Suki, right? But now she's saying it was super, super sad and that he never should have done it. It's definitely a level of damage control here, for sure.
Like he was giving them a token. I felt like it was
Right.
like I'm passing on this thing to you. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess I felt like it was sort of an heirloom.
So now they're going to hand down heirlooms, I guess, of a ring that Kody told Christine in the tell-all that now he was free from Meri. So he had no sentimental attachment to this ring. And even the way that Janelle says Meri has sentimental attachment, well, Janelle, I think that's easy for Janelle to say. She has never been legally married. Well, she has been to Adam, but only for like a year. If, say, the roles were reversed and it was Janelle and Kody that were legally married, and Kody made a decision that he was going to melt down his ring, not tell you, and then use the ring to quote unquote make rings for the other girls. But the other girls that he's making these rings for are actually daughters he conceived outside of wedlock and outside of your union with concubines. I don't know about that. I would feel a little bit ticked off too. But I don't know that I actually believe the story. I don't believe that they should just, instead of placating Kody in this situation and making it seem like Meri's overreacting, they could actually have empathy for Meri and be like, yeah, that was a crappy choice by Kody and he shouldn't have done that, and left it at that without bringing up this sort of justification about giving gifts to the girls. And see, that's the problem with polygamy. If the story is true, then they are viewing this as no big deal, because if the story is true, their daughters would have gotten gifts of rings, which I don't know if the story is true. I have a hard time believing it's true, because what are they melting down of their own to give to the daughters? Is Meri melting down a ring? It doesn't sound like it. Were Christine and Janelle melting down rings? It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like Kody melted down a ring and didn't tell Meri. So I don't know that I believe it. But again, they're maybe not going to be sensitive to it if it is true, because their daughters got a gift out of it. Here's the thing. You can be a fan of Christine and be happy that she's like telling on Kody, and you can be a fan of Janelle because you're happy that she's telling on Kody, and you can be a fan of Meri and be happy that she's telling on Kody. But when they start going after each other and they take away from the bad guy, who is Kody, it just ends up looking really mean girl. It looks petty. It looks vindictive. It looks cruel. If they would just focus on themselves and their own pain with Kody instead of bringing up everyone else, this would be a much less messy split. But of course, then we would have nothing to talk about, right? I just want to highlight that I hope in time all of them can find happiness. I hope in time that all of them can put all of these petty little disagreements aside and actually be thoughtful in the things that they say about each other and be sensitive to each other's pain. It's hard to be sensitive to anyone else's pain in a cult, because everyone becomes a victim and everyone becomes a perpetrator. And so everyone has anger at someone else, and someone else has victimized someone else, and someone is victimizing someone, and someone is becoming a victim, and sometimes those people are the same people. So there's just no right or wrong. There's no winners. There's no losers. I mean, the truth to me is the kids are the losers in this situation. The kids are the ones that didn't ask to be born into this. And Kody is the ultimate villain in the situation. And I just wish that when Janelle and Christine have compassion for each other, they could at least look for a tiny bit of compassion for Meri. But what do I know? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.